Or I've muted it. Hello, can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me. I had accidentally muted it because I'm a numpty. I was trying to fix my audio earlier on. Hopefully you're not getting an echo from me. I think I fixed it. Yay! Trust me, I'm a professional streamer. I can't do this. I'm getting there. Shanna, Kev, Raptor. Yeah. There we go. Oh, you're on YouTube. Give me a second. I can see you here, but oh god. Where am I? Boom. YouTube. How has your Yes! Oh god, I should have written down what I'd done in case the echo comes back. But hopefully if I've got rid of it, I just don't change anything. My channel. There. Boom. Yay. There, you're there. Oh, this is difficult. Go there. There we go. I suppose the best way to check if there is an echo in anything else. Oh, fucking hell. YouTube? How is your day? It has been absolutely stoating it here because of the way the weather comes in, and there seems to be a lot of mountains here in Scotland. I don't know if you know that. They're both there, and they're both turned off. They're still paired because I do my research and I listen to music while I'm doing research and shit for stuff for the Green Party for my branch here in Glasgow. They're still paired, but they're turned off, and obviously I need my Bluetooth for a couple of other things that I've got connected to my stream. They're both turned off. They're sitting there on the sofa. Do. I have let my watch later list get out of control. Oi. YouTube. Oi. Christ. I pay for premium so you don't fucking slow me down, you bastards. Let's see. I'm sure everyone knows that now. I done that one last night. And I done you last night. Oh no, I've watched that one. Oh, Mothin, I'll leave you. Oh, yep, leave Matri archetype. Nah. Nah, fuck it, I'll leave it. Cold War is actually quite good. Yep. Keir Starmer is a cunt. Watched that one last night. Watched you last night. Watched you last night. We all know how he got rich. Oh, I've already watched you last week. Oh, no. My God, look at the size of this fucking thing. I've actually shown that one on stream. I don't think I've shown that one from James on stream yet. Oh, no. I watched you earlier. Oh, I showed you last week. That one's funny. Oh, happy 4th of July, Barbs. Oh, I couldn't get through it. Piers was infuriating. Yeah, I covered that one last week in a couple of different videos. Christ almighty woman. Oh yeah, I showed that one. Yes it has, Medi and Owen. Yeah. Oh no, see, I'm not the techno idiot. Just new to streaming and everything, even though I've been doing. Oh, it was my anniversary last week, so I've been streaming an entire year. Well, technically, I've been streaming since my birthday last year, so March, but I've been earning. I was affiliate, so it's my streamerversary. It'll be a fortnight at the end of the week, so on Friday. So I've been earning. Oh, have I still not fucking watched that one from GDF? Fuck. I've already watched you. Christ, these are from fucking ages ago. Yeah. Do. Press freedom's always been under attack, Medi. Oh, thank you, darling. Fucking hell. Oh, yeah, I watched that one, was funny as hell. Yep, I showed you on stream. Oh, I'm leaving that one on. I like going back to that one because it is funny as fuck. Because Kev rules. Christ, how much fucking stuff. Every time you watch it on stream, you're meant to take it out of your watch or get rid of it off your. Oh god, Shostakovich. Fuck. I don't know. What the fucking hell? I swear to God, if I've got anything on here that's over a month old, I'm going to slap myself. Now we watched you, Big Match. Yep, done those. I do have. Oh, Christ almighty. Oh God, Lysenkoism. Fuck it, I'll leave it on. People need to know about him. Christ almighty. Oh, I know for a fact. Right, this is over a month ago. Yep. What the spickin' hell? I'm going to be here forever. Christ. This is mental. Yep, I showed you on stream already. Yeah, I will be, don't you worry. Go away, Tangerine Tyrant, you fucker. Fucking hell, man. Do. Fucking hell. Do. Too much stuff on my watch later. Christ. I thought my one for uni a few years ago, well, 20 years ago, was bad. This is mental. Yeah, we've been moaning at YouTube to make that better, to actually bring in that thing. But they don't need to listen to us. They earn money from their advertisers and shit like that. Google, can you fucking hear us? I am not alone in this. Obviously, millions of even just normal people who use YouTube and just watch it on different types of stuff, obviously. But quite a lot of streamers are saying, please just click over and just tick box all the way down, which would be so much easier instead of having to go through it like this. I'm going to develop fucking RSI. That one's quite good. If I remember correctly from last night, I had 109 things on my watch later. Fucking hell. Oh, am I done? Oh, no. Fine. Ah! Fantastic. Right. There we go. Ta-da! Correct, yes, repetitive strain injury. office people is the most common. Obviously, if you do something along the builders as well, but most people who go in with repetitive strain injury are usually people who work in call centres, typing all day, doing general office drudgery. That's the ones that get RSI, which is basically the nerves and the muscles get bent out of shape essentially. That's why you need like the rest, ergonomic keyboard, stuff like that. When I worked in offices a while ago, I got funding to get an ergonomic keyboard. It wasn't a laptop, it was a computer setup. So I got a decent keyboard and the wrist rest, and a properly shaped mouse for myself. So the benefits agency, Department of Work and Pensions, they paid for that. It's called access to work, so you get lots of different things to help because you're disabled. So I got proper keyboard, wrist support, the bar one, a filter, better mouse, a good mouse pad, that sort of stuff. So that all got funded for me. I got that bought for me, which was good to prevent that, or at least slow it down. The RSI is like a step down from my arthritis. Lots of people develop it because of bad posture. I got a bit funny enough. It was with BT that I was working that I got all that stuff for. My God, that was 1999. Yeah, that was 1999. I worked for BT in the lead up to the millennium. So I got all that stuff funded for me, which was good. So the keyboard, the wrist support, the mouse, the screen filter, all came to just under £500 back then, 26 years ago. So I was quite lucky. I don't think it was called access to the work access thing that it's called now. I think it was the scumbags. The coalition government changed it to that. Called it that. It was still basically the same thing. They just changed its name. Okay, there they are. Yeah, they added in affordably rented things because the coalition government cut the funding. Delightful. Fucking scum. I got mine fully paid for. I didn't need to pay anything for them because that was Labour government. Now it's the Blair government. They were a little bit nicer to us, kind of. But all that got funded for me. My sister asked me about that stuff. I said, why don't you get yourself a better setup and get your support? I have my laptop set at an angle on my cooler, so I won't get it. Plus, if I need to, I've got two wrist supports that I can put on to help with my typing and my bad fingers. But it is good. It is good. Plus, I'm used to the QWERTY keyboard. I did used to be able to type fast, but I can't now because of that. Cheese knife. Nearly 19 years ago. The Christmas before Super Hubby's birthday's in January. So for the Christmas before that, I got a cheese board set with a knife and chutneys, and my mum went online. I love Arran cheeses, so she got me a gift box of cheese, and that all got delivered to this flat. And for his birthday, I never used the cheese board or the chutneys or anything until it was his birthday. And when I was slicing up that, I cooked him the entire meal, starter, main, and dessert. I made ice cream. Took me forever to do the fucking ice cream. And I'd done the meal, I'd done all the dishes, and I was cutting up the cheese on the cheese board. And I went right through both nerves and tendons, and I chipped into the bone. I haven't had feeling in it since. So it'll be 19 years in January since I've done this. No, it was 19 years this January. It will be 20 years January coming. So that's fun. I've not to force or anything because if the tendons snap back up, they snap when I cut through them, they snap back up to just about here in my, just before my elbow. But if they snap back again, they'll ping right all the way back up to my shoulder. Then they won't. Once that goes, it'll go like that. It'll double back down, and they can't reattach it at that point. Oh, favourite of mine's. Good choice. Oh, if you like cheese and you don't mind paying the delivery for it, Island Cheese Company. They are based in Arran. No, it doesn't feel. I can't feel anything in it at all. Fuck all feeling completely. Might be due to the fact that I've got nervous. My nerves are actually kind of odd and misfire and cause me all sorts of pain and weird issues. But that can't feel fucking anything in it. So I have to be careful when I'm using this hand, especially with this finger, my pinky. I freaked out my nephews once, a good few years before the pandemic, and I was showing that, I was doing that to them, showing it, said, what? You can't feel that? No. My sister, who's a nurse, explained to them what was going on with that. So you can't feel it. The damp weather, like rainy, windy, all that sort of nonsense, that affects my other joints and stuff. So I can still feel in that, feel them and stuff like that, but the damp just goes right through me. That's why I would never be able to do the ice bucket challenge. Just as well as chucking me into a freezer. It would seize up like an ice cube. Yeah. Let's start off with something rather lovely. This is Moth and Ali's YouTube channel. Here's good people. We love Moth in here. Oh God. There's no one in my Twitch yet. So you know what I'll do? Sorry, Twitch. Oh God, what? Oh, they're there. I will listen on my phone. Whoops. And I can still see you on my other phone. Oh, this is the one in the case is the one with my actual SIM in it. This one out with SIMless. But all my accounts are still on it. Except my Twitch one. My Twitch is on here. I shut down my Twitch on this SIMless one. So all my Twitch things are based here, but I can still use my YouTube and stuff on my other one, the SIMless one. Anyway, I've got broadband in here now, so okay. If you're not already, subscribe to My Family Garden. Mothin really is quite lovely. Oh, playlists, watch later. Oh, right. Oh, are you on Twitch? If you can come over to the Twitch, I put my Discord link on my Twitch chat, and I can get it for you there. You know what? I know what I'll do. You go down there. Give me a second, darling. Where am I? Oh, Shanna's got back to me. Oh, she's coming in a minute. Monty. Invite. Copy. Who is this? Who is this? Give me a second, my darling. I will go to my channel. Go there. Discord. Boom. Discord. It is Numpty Woman. Sof no Jutsu? Ah! Hello, hello. Welcome, Sof no Jutsu. I am MadCat79 Scotty I, a Scottish disabled Marxist. Whoops. Edit. Oh no, my watch later, please. Where are we? Go back. Playlists. Watch later. There we go. Oh, it's 6 of them being taken down. Oh, that's rather not fun. I will call you Soph for short. Hello, hello. Thank you for the follow. Very much appreciated. Go. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So I haven't done an update in the garden for a while, but this is not my usual spot. So I'm going to do a garden update on a community project that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. I'll take you around and show you what you can do in a tiny little space. So we started off on a tiny bit of concrete, so maybe about 4 meters by 3 meters, and this is what we've managed to do. Come and have a look. So we've got the classical garden arch, and we've got a couple of raised beds. I'll show you what we've got back here. We've got an elder plant here, and so elderberries, we're going to get loads of wildlife coming up to there. Lavender, absolutely amazing for bees, and then you can also you can use it for medicinal purposes. We've got some tomatoes down at the back, geraniums. The peas are looking a bit worse for wear, so it's been a hot day and it's quite hard on them because we've displaced them a little bit. But we've got thornless blackberries up this side, and what I want is thornless blackberries to be coming up here. I've got a pumpkin down there as well. I want to grow it up here and have pumpkins hanging down from the top. Yeah. We've got a step over apple tree at the back. I need to put a frame in and wires to hold it to the wall there. And remember, with a step over apple tree, depending on how much you want it to grow, right? If you want it to keep growing lengthways, point the end of the branch up and it'll keep growing longer. If you don't want it to grow anymore.
Who is this lovely Yorkshireman indeed? Hi Reza. Mwah. Welcome. Rejoice comrades. Rez is here. Hello, hello. God, I love this man. I hope he becomes deputy leader. Go on, Morphin.
Point the branch down, tie it in that way, and it won't keep growing. So we'll have it right against the wall, and so it won't take over. We'll have it like that, right against the wall, wired in. I'll put some wires in.
Oh, I thought it was too good to be true. Oh well. My speakers are a bit patchy. Right. 1 minute 50.
and train it to that. But you know me, chilies. We've got chilies down here. We've got naga in there as well. Strawberries.
What is Naga?
Naga, Bangladeshi chilies. So they're about that big. We're the third or fourth hottest chili in the world. Something like 4 million Scoville, something like that. Absolutely ridiculously hot.
Someone didn't know what Naga were? And no, not the BBC breakfast presenter. I got my stepdad grow your own Nagas kit, like pot, the seeds for it, little trainers that sticks essentially, and it sits in the kitchen windowsill. I got him that for his Christmas 6 years ago, and he's still managing to grow it. This is the flat where plants and herbs come to die. I am green fingered. I am actually quite good in the garden. I got taught by my uncle, my mum's older brother. No longer with us. But this, when they get brought into this place, they don't survive. I've tried to grow so many different, grow your own herbs. You buy them in the supermarket and you maintain them. But nope. Because of the way the flat's positioned, it only gets like, I'll be nice and say 3 hours of sunlight a day through the way the windows are set up, the way the flat's orientated essentially. That's it, they're not getting enough sunlight. I knew how to water them correctly and things like that, but they don't get enough sunlight. So there is no point. So if I want any sort of loveliness in the house, I just buy myself a bunch of flowers every now and again, just to brighten the place up. Super Heartbeat says, I don't know why you bother. Everything just comes in and dies. Rejoice, comrades. Linton is here. Hi, Linton. Mothin. Is it my family? My family garden. We stand Mothin. Mothin is awesome. Pick up your hills. Oh my god, maybe we should find footage of him being his based self during those fucking riots. Should just put in Mothin Alley, here hills. That would work, I would assume. Go.
Or red?
You can have them out green,
Yeah.
but the redder they get, the hotter they get.
Okay.
You know, a bit of colour adds a bit of spice. And then we've got another bed behind us. So we've been working on this bed today. We've raised it up another level. Again, thornless blackberries on that side, gooseberries over there. And I've got an apple tree that's going to, there's going to be a column apple tree in the first place. So we're just going to grow it like a cordon. But instead of a cordon, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim it there.
Mum would love him. Mum absolutely loves gooseberries because she's a mad woman. I don't. I like raspberries and strawberries, and I quite like blueberries. But gooseberries, get out of here. Blech. Mind you, my mum also likes rhubarb. So does Super Hubby. Pair of nutters, if you ask me. Seriously, no. They were awesome and very, very kitchen orientated. Husband of mine makes me berry crumble and he makes himself rhubarb crumble. So I have ones with like blackberries, raspberries and strawberries and touch of lemon and vanilla, touch of lemon juice in it, and topped off with the crumble but with hazelnuts through it. And he makes rhubarb with a touch of vanilla and just plain crumble mix. I like blueberry muffins and blueberry tart. Quite delicious. James. Hi, James. Rejoice, comrades. James Holmes has arrived. Hi, James. Ah, fucker. Oh. Cruelly attacked by my desk. Ow, that fucking hurts. Oh, God, please don't make me have chipped my elbow again. Stay hydrated and don't smack your joints off tables or desks. Or door frames, that's a favourite of mine, hitting off the door frame. My new kitchen door is heavy as fuck. It's a fire door for inside the flat, and it is heavy as fuck. It's already battered the side of my foot. Both my feet. I'm going to threaten it with righteous violence if it does that again. Door frames are a target. Don't worry about me. The level of pain meds that I'm on, I'm more worried about actually physically damaging myself, the pain I'm used to. I've been going through various levels of pain throughout my life. Not so much crippling agony anymore, thank fuck. Just like getting scalped in the face with a frying pan on a daily basis now, instead of actually getting put through a bloody mincer or a ringer. That was fun. Same. Yeah. I'm unstable, inner ear imbalance, so the cochlea and your toes, your feet, help you with your balance. But because mine is a lower level, my centre of gravity is odd. It varies. So I am kind of unstable, and I do sort of bang off the environment, if you will. I'll be fine, don't you worry. Another good way. Oh! My auntie, this mum's older sister, she had a bungalow, and the place is called Pitcairn Green. It's outside of Perth. It's a little village essentially. And hers was the largest house there, and they had a huge gardens that surrounded the house, three sides, not the front, had the path leading up to it. So the one at the back was huge. The one at the back is the same size as our drying area outside that I'm currently looking out onto, essentially. And she had different plots, raised beds for doing like herbs and root veg and fruits, and far, far too much rhubarb that my mum used to just go and say, "Hi, I'm here for some rhubarb." So fine, Katie, mum, go and help yourself. So mum didn't need to buy her rhubarb. She just went to her sister's garden. That's why their favourite dessert was bloody either rhubarb sponge or rhubarb crumble. I didn't eat it. I just said, give me a jam piece. Bleh, rhubarb. Go.
And I'm going to grow it across here like in espalier. We'll have a couple of branches going across the top and a couple of branches going across the top and bottom, and it'll be a natural fence. And then what the vision is we grow apples, and people, as they're walking past, grab an apple and off they go.
Why is it so important that people can get fruit for free, and like how is that different from what we normally see?
So one of the things that a lot of garden designers have done in this country is they've always planted male trees. So if you notice that there's a lot of hay fever about, it's all the male trees producing the problems. You know, they're producing all the pollen, because garden designers, for a couple of reasons, they didn't want loads of free fruit all over the place so people can just get fruit. They wanted people to be a little bit dependent, but also the cleaning costs, because if there's apples falling on the roads, you're going to get lots of litter, you end up with street cleaning costs and potentially rats and other stuff. So it's really important that we grow edibles that people can actually pick. And in an area like this where it's so built up, it's concrete everywhere, it's bricks, you've got very little green space. So having little gardens like this, you've already seen butterflies flying in and out, you know?
Yeah.
But then we've got this magical herb spiral. This is the staple of a permaculture garden. Just another tip on these beds. To fill a bed like this is really expensive in terms of compost. So rather than fill it all with compost, what I've done is the bottom layer is all chunks of wood chip, and then I've put in hedge trimmings and all that, grass clippings, and then the compost is probably the top 6 inches. So you're filling it up with stuff that's going to break down organic material, that's going to feed the soil. Eventually it's going to turn into soil, but in the meantime you're saving tons of money from not having to fill something like this. If you're buying compost like this, just to fill this bed is going to cost you about 150 quid. But find ways of filling it for cheap, find ways of filling it for free. That's the way I do it. So this is a staple of the permaculture garden. It's called the herb spiral. And this is, the whole point of this is, look, we've used rubble, recycled materials to make this. So all these bricks and all these rocks have come from a dry stone wall that had collapsed. So a farmer needed to get rid of them, we picked it up. And even look, this is a feature brick. We found this on a local street. So this slab, we found it lying around locally. We found these bricks lying around locally, and this is my feature brick. And the thing is, from the ruins of Hare Hills, something life will grow, you know? But what we've got in here, we've got mint at the top. Mint is really vigorous, so we've tried to contain it within this brick system. And again, I've got mint down here, but again, I've got it in a plant pot, and I've buried the plant pot. Curry plant, and the reason that this is so effective is because it's a spiral shape. It gets sun from all different angles. It's not blocking things out. It's working in a way that's maximising climates. So your drier, more arid plants go further up the spiral. You water at the top. The water dissipates throughout the bed. The boggier plants can go. The more water tolerant plants can go at the bottom. And then the sunnier plants, according to whichever aspect you get the most sun on. We've got lavender. We've got basil, we've got marjoram. You can't go wrong without marigolds because they're fantastic for pollinators and for keeping bugs and harmful insects away. Thyme, rosemary, classic example of the herb spiral. So this is my around the world. This is like the world encapsulated because it covers all the climates. And this is a really important feature of the permaculture garden. And to be honest with you, this is actually the first herb spiral I've built. You know, I've built so many permaculture gardens, but I've never put in a herb spiral. So I hope some of my teachers from permaculture are happy I finally done a herb spiral. That'll be good.
What a
This is
wizard!
beautiful. Who's the artist?
It's a local artist. She lives locally. She's done some work over at one of the local parks as well, and it's inspired by the students from Hare Hills Primary School. So one of the local schools in the ward, they came up with the design. They came up with what they wanted on here. And look at this. You know, this is absolutely fantastic. Stay different. You know, we don't have to all be the same. We're all in this little microclimate.
Hi,
of the
Jacqueline.
world. And these streets represent that. You know,
It has to be
so
raspberry
diverse.
jam.
I grew up on these streets.
You've been told.
And this is why, we're trying to do work that represents and builds up this community.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Since you started doing this in the local community, started to take notice, what kind of responses have you had?
So the response has been really positive. People have been walking past, adults, and have been commenting on and thanking us for the work that we're doing because it just adds a little bit of life to the community. So there you go. And then you get little kids that are coming around who are interested in what we're doing, wanting to see what we're doing and saying, okay, look, how do we get involved? So there were some kids around here the other day with the super soakers watering the plants. They were out here. Someone's picked all the apples off the apple tree. But what can we do? I mean, you've got as kids, they're going to be kids. As long as we get them involved. There was a mother taking a little toddler earlier, and the toddler planted this marigold for it. So it's absolutely amazing, and there's a lot of community spirit around here. That's the thing about areas like this that are poor. The community comes together.
And you've got a primary school just down here, and you had one
people that teach at the drama school, is that correct?
Yeah.
And is there any way that you can formalise doing this kind of community gardening with the school?
So there's a local school that's contacted me.
Yeah.
They've seen my YouTube videos.
Nice.
And they want to get involved.
I'm Barry, and I live in Hare Hills. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice
to meet you,
We're going to stick together as a family.
Yeah.
So it's normal then.
Yeah, prohibition doesn't work. Look at you.
Police officer stand here sometimes.
This is going to be a police station, I think.
Huh?
So we'll have police.
Is it?
Yeah, so he lied.
So there's going to be a food bank, a clothes bank, a
Free
house
food,
office.
free drinks.
Yeah.
So when I run out of petrol, I can get food for the body in the tank.
I don't know about petrol.
No,
but
petrol meaning food.
Yeah, food's in
Fuel.
there.
Food is fuel, right?
Yeah. So hopefully it's going to be a nice little community centre. And we're planting lots of edible plants here as well.
Edible.
So look, this apple tree.
I like fruits, they're organic as well. They're going to be organic.
Yeah.
And when you buy into the fruits, there's water in there, and that's
It
proper.
tastes better, doesn't it?
Yeah, proper fresh water in there too.
So we've got gooseberries, blackberries, elderberries, tomatoes. I'm going to get some more. I'm going to get some more planting. Fill this out properly.
I think it's time to, right?
Yeah, good for the plants.
Hey, we do need to.
Do you all live local? Is this something
Yeah.
that you'd like to be involved in the future?
So you guys can look after this, Elderberries, more berries that you can eat. Blackberries. Oh no, they're loganberries actually. So they're like a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry. But we're almost there, we're not far off. So, I mean, once these plants come into bloom and the garden matures and we get plants growing up over the top, it'll look absolutely stunning, I think. Yeah, it'll look absolutely stunning.
What football team is for?
But, I mean, that's it. This is our community garden. It's something that a couple of days' work and a few willing volunteers has magically transformed a patch of soil in concrete into something special. And this is one of the things that we want to do more and more of across the country. We want to inspire people to grow food. We want to inspire people to get active in the communities. And that's one of the reasons that I'm running to be deputy leader of the Green Party. So if you don't know that I'm a local councillor here, I'm running to be the deputy leader of the Green Party. So if you're not a member of the Green Party, come on, get joining up before the 31st of July. Join up, vote for Martin Ali for deputy leader, rank Martin #1, and then inshallah we'll be able to do more projects like this across the country and inspire people within the party as well to set up grassroots organisations, mobilise the communities that they represent and they want to represent, and hopefully we'll build more resilience in our communities.
Woo, mashallah.
Hello, today we're talking about J.K. Rowling, but it's a positive thing. Not about J.K. Rowling, no, but about what other people are saying about her and the support for the trans community at the minute. Hey Spuds, it's Jamie, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on the channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. As you will already know, this video is around J.K. Rowling, the very well-known transphobe who also happens to be an author. This video is completely spontaneous, it may be a little bit chaotic, but I wanted to make it because I just read an article about what Stephen Fry has recently said about J.K. Rowling's views and how
Whoops. Round of applause for Linton, everyone. Scottish Greens up here. We've just done ours, so you might recognise one of the names, Ellie Gummersall. She's part of Greens Organise. I love me Ellie. She is awesome. Plus we've ranked. This is going forward for Holyrood next year. So Ellie won. Iris Dwayne second. Fuck, I've forgotten Shona's surname. Shona. Then Noor. Then Patrick Harvey. I think everyone will recognise that name. Patrick Harvey's already on the list for my area of Glasgow. I do love me Patrick. He's been in it for a long time. Yeah, obviously. Oh God, will I cover it? Should I cover that? The one from the New Statesman with him and Adrian. Kevin Helena's already done it. Suppose I should do it as well. Might get on to that after these two. This is Jamie Dodger. He is Transmask. He is awesome. His parents are Scottish. He was born and brought up in England. But you can hear a slight Scottish twang in his voice. But his parents are proper Scottish. I think they moved down for his dad's job. That's why he was born down there. But his parents are amazing. I like his parents. Ah, that one is good. I watched that one. Bloody excellent. God, how many have I watched today? I watched 6. I repeat, 6 Jimmy videos today. Like, what was the one that sticks in my mind the most is when he was covering the leader of UKIP, Nick Tinconi. He's Italian, but he's the leader of UK Independence Party, which is the man is a bell end. But Jimmy managed to critique. Well, obviously it's easy to critique anyone that's in UKIP now. I don't know how many members they've got. I think a lot of them moved over when, well, obviously, Manfrog career. Tory. Tory. He was a member of the Tory party. Then UKIP. Then the Brexit party. And now Reform. So that's 4, I repeat, 4 different parties. He was UKIP when he was an MEP. Then Brexit party, once we got Brexit, basically pressuring the fucking Tories. And now Reform UK. Oh, yeah, well, Count Dankula. Plus other famous YouTuber, Sargon. Okay, Carl. God, Sargon. I try not to watch too much of him because obviously Bell End as well. Just go away, Sargon. BDS! Rejoice, comrades! BDS is here. Hi, hi. Mwah. Okay, back to Jamie.
How what he's saying has evolved and has become much more strongly supportive of the trans community and anti-JK Rowling in the past few years, because he said something back in 2022 that was kind of on the fence, to be honest, and a lot of people were disappointed, but now his recent statements are a lot more pro-trans, very strongly, to be honest, and I wanted to read that article and what he said. JK Rowling has had something to say about it, and basically have a look at what a lot of the other cast members have or haven't said, because really when you get down to it, there's been a lot come out in support of the trans community, several on the fence, but not really anybody come out with any gusto to support what JK Rowling is saying. And I wanted to look into that a bit deeper, so that's where we're at today. And then we're going to wrap it up with a little chat about some of the actors on the new series and what they've been saying. Are you ready? Strap in, get a snack, let's go. Stephen Fry believes JK Rowling is a lost cause who's been radicalized by TERFs. I would agree with that statement. Comedian Stephen Fry has turned on his pal JK Rowling, claiming she had been radicalized by TERFs. I think we need to move away from language like that. If a friend does something shitty, you're not turning on your friend by calling out their shitty behavior. As like comedian Stephen Fry has called out JK Rowling's bigotry, claiming she's been radicalized by TERFs. He's not like turning on his pal. The gay author and actor who narrated the audiobooks for all 7 Harry Potter titles sparked controversy in 2022 when he failed to condemn her beliefs about trans people article, despite saying his transgender friends had been left deeply upset by her views. I find that really interesting. I was kind of aware of his views back in 2022 and I read an article about them. I can't remember them super specifically, but it is interesting to me that somebody with trans friends would be able to be in any way on the fence over this situation, or at least not be able to be on the fence without alienating those trans friends and making them feel like that's no longer a safe friendship for them. But what has he said more recently? During a live recording of the Show People podcast at London Bar The Two Brewers last week, he criticised the author and gender critical activist. I feel like it should be the other way around. I wonder when that balance is going to tip of what she's most well known for and what people think of first when they think of J.K. Rowling. I feel like that balance is going to go from like being Harry Potter at the minute to being transphobe. So Stephen Fry said, she's been radicalised, I fear, and it may be she has been radicalised by TERFs, but also by the vitriol that is thrown at her, Fry told the Show People podcast. It is unhelpful and only hardens her and will only continue to harden her, I'm afraid. She seems to be a lost cause for us. I see where that kind of statement is coming from. What that reads to me is he's going, all right, I think she got some of these ideas by TERFs and bought into them and then started expressing them and is now like doubling, tripling, quadrupling down because of the negativity she's getting back. But I feel like most decent people don't double down when they are called out so much for bigotry. There's a way in which you can do it of being like, wow, sorry, got the wrong end of the stick on this situation. I apologize for my previous statements. I'm gonna go do some learning and soul searching and listen to what people are saying, whilst also saying, however, I've been really offended and I want to call out the people who are being absolute arseholes. Because yeah, it is harder to listen to criticism when it's said in an angry or hateful way, but I don't think that being called out in a harsh way is any excuse for getting stronger in bigotry. Maybe we can say it doesn't help, but it's not an excuse. It should not be used to excuse her and what she's said and the fact that she's getting worse and worse in these views towards the trans community. He carried on by saying, she started to make these peculiar statements and had very strong difficult views. She seemed to wake up or kick a hornet's nest of transphobia which has been entirely destructive. I disagree profoundly with her on this subject. I'm angry she does not disavow some of the more revolting and truly horrible, violently destructive things that people say. She does not attack those at all. And I think she's actually started saying them. No, she has started saying them. She has started saying things that are truly bizarre. They're kind of packaged in this pseudo-intellectual way that other people are buying into, so they don't seem so like vitriolly hateful, but underneath it they are. Like some of the stuff she's been saying recently, and even less recently, I don't think it's just that we should be angry that she's not calling out some of the more horrible things that are being said, but that she is the one saying them as well. I appreciate what he's saying and where he's coming from, and it's great that he's taken a stronger stance in supporting the trans community. However, I'm not completely in agreement with where he's coming from on everything. Fry continued, she says things that are inflammatory and contemptuous, mocking, and add to a terribly distressing time for trans people. She has crowed at the success of legislation in Scotland and elsewhere, declaring things about gender. So I'm very happy to go on the record to say that I am really angry. My view about all things of a sharp and difficult nature is that it is much more important to be effective than to be right. I'm glad he also made a comment about the specific things that she said as well, not being nice, including like contemptuous and mocking and inflammatory, because it absolutely is. He had always liked Rowling and found her charming, funny and interesting, but then this thing happened and it completely altered the way she talks and engages with the world now. The comments mark something of a departure from Fry's previous statement on trans issues. Appearing on Roger Bolton's Beeb Watch podcast 3 years ago, he said the fight for trans rights was an issue where two sides are very sore and very anxious about their enemies. I do think ever posing this as something that where there's two sides or it's a debate is wrong and it's harmful to the trans community, because trans rights are human rights and human rights are not something that is up for debate or where there should be two sides of. You're either for human rights or you're against them, and if you're against them, that's not a side where I'm going to take into account your feelings or where I think that you should have platforms to try and take away those human rights. He went on to say, Rowling's a friend of mine and I have trans friends and intersex friends who are deeply upset by her. That's a circle I have to square personally. I'm not going to abandon my friends. I think people really differ on this viewpoint of like turning their back on people and cutting people off for certain reasons. I do know of some people who I can't can't see them ever cutting people out of their life, regardless of what those people might do to them. And then there's other people who are, I'd never call it trigger happy, but who are confident in being like, you pull that shit on me and I'm gone. And what's the point in giving people all these chances? Like, why do you want to keep people around in your life that you can't see them growing? They don't listen. They're causing harm. I'm definitely in the middle of that. Like, I absolutely will, and I absolutely have cut people out of my life who are assholes to me and generally, but I am also willing to give second chances. But then if that gets messed up, reading on. It was an argument he did not want to get involved in because it was upsetting for both sides. I'd wish them both to retreat and to consider that it is possible for trans people to live full, accepted lives according to their terms in society, and for women to have all the rights and dignities that they demand. But it isn't possible if each side looks on the other as an enemy. This is really interesting. I don't want to go too deep into what he said 3 years ago because clearly he has grown from those comments and is a lot stronger in his trans support. With this one though, I agree with that first bit, but I don't understand like both to retreat. I don't agree with that bit. But trans people were never the ones that thought that rights were pie and that trans people's rights were being impacted by women's rights in any way. That was never it. And there was never a want from trans people to impact women's rights in any way. It was always transphobic people who were hiding behind this guise of feminism and protecting women's rights in order to be transphobic. It's not actually a real argument. And like, to me, him bringing that up, it makes sense why he has, but only because I feel like he's bought into that transphobic argument of like, oh, we just care about women's rights, when that isn't the case. What do these transphobes actually do and say to protect women's rights in any way, shape or form? The only time I ever see them be loud about anything is to be transphobic. This whole women's rights versus trans rights is something that transphobes made up. So that's kind of the nutshell of where Stephen Fry's views have gone from, where I'd say he was very much trying to be like a friend to everybody and like, I don't want to turn my back on somebody for their views, but I have trans friends and I want to support them. I am supportive of the trans community, but I feel like everybody just needs to be nice to each other. That's kind of what it read as, whereas now it very much feels like, wow, no, she's like fully radicalized by TERFs, lost cause, she's saying horrible things that are causing a lot of damage, and I do not get behind that. And that's the reality of where we are. That is objectively what's happening. She is saying some really horrific things about the trans community and continues to say them, and is now putting her money behind it, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. So this all happened yesterday from the day I'm filming this, which is the 23rd of June. So the day after it happened, J.K. Rowling did reply back. J.K. Rowling hits back at Stephen Fry after he claims she's been radicalized. Author J.K. Rowling has hit back after Stephen Fry said he believes she was a lost cause who may have been radicalized by TERFs. Responding through a comment made by the Good Law Project, who you should go check out, they're doing great things, who had praised Fry's recent comments, Rowling wrote on X/Twitter, "It is a great mistake to assume that everyone who claims to have been a friend of mine was ever considered a friend by me." I mean, even in Stephen Fry's comments 3 years ago, he referred to her as a friend. And okay, the vibe that that comment gives me is,
I don't actually have anything of substance to say, so I'm going to pick at this use of word friend that's been used by somebody else.
And it's like a,
you can't fire me, I quit.
like,
He can't go against me as a friend because he was never my friend in the first place.
it's not actually saying anything about what he said. It's not actually a rebuttal of him claiming she's been radicalized by TERFs or that what she says is harmful. It's just her going,
Oh, well, if he says that, then we were never friends in the first place. Ugh.
that's what it feels like. It's just a very nothing response. And this leads me on to the next section of the video, which is Stephen Fry's viewpoints have clearly progressed in the past few years, and I wonder if anybody else's has as well. That would be speculative at this point. I think the only other person who's very recently spoken out is Jason Isaacs, which we'll get to at a point, but I don't think his stance has really changed. It's interesting. But I wanted to have a chat about generally the viewpoints of the original cast of the Harry Potter movies, because I actually find the pattern of it really interesting. And so I'm going to go through an article from a year ago. It's called A Comprehensive List of Every Harry Potter Actor Who Supports J.K. Rowling and Who Doesn't, and also lists some people on the fence. I don't think it includes everybody who's spoken about it, because I don't think people like David Tennant are on this list, who he was in the movie series, and he is such a strong advocate for the trans community and very, very much against Rowling's viewpoints. So I think this article does just cover the very main and more prominent cast members. So those who are against J.K. Rowling, I'm sure a lot of you watching are aware that the main three cast of Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson and Rupert Grint have all been very vocally supportive of the trans community since all of this has kicked off with J.K. Rowling. So Daniel Radcliffe first slammed J.K. Rowling in an essay he posted on the Trevor Project website, a non-profit organisation that provides suicide prevention and crisis intervention for LGBTQIA+ people in need. Transgender women are women, Radcliffe wrote. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people and goes against all advice given by professional healthcare associations who have far more expertise on the subject matter than either Joe or I. He reiterated the same sentiment later on by saying, the reason I felt very, very much as though I needed to say something when I did was because, particularly since finishing Potter, I've met so many queer and trans kids and young people who had a huge amount of identification with Potter on that. He said, I don't think I would have been able to look myself in the mirror had I not said anything, but it's not mine to guess what's going on in someone else's head. Emma Watson, who played Hermione Granger, has also spoken out against J.K. Rowling's viewpoints and been very trans supportive. Trans people are who they say they are and deserve to live their lives without being constantly questioned or told they aren't who they say they are. I want my trans followers to know that I and so many other people around the world see you, respect you, and love you for who you are. Watson also shaded Rowling at the 2022 BAFTA Awards by saying she was claiming the award in the name of all witches.
I'm here for all of the witches.
She has done more. She's posted like wearing trans supportive t-shirts and things, and she said a few other bits, but I think this article is just like condensing it down. And then Rupert Grint as well. I firmly stand with the trans community and echo the sentiments expressed by many of my peers. Trans women are women, trans men are men, and we should all be entitled to live with love and without judgment. Katie Leung, who played Cho Chang, has also spoken out against J.K. Rowling. She was very, very strongly trans supportive from the offset, but has since deleted her Twitter account. But in this article it says, not only did she slam Rowling for racism and transphobia, but she also made sure to highlight black trans people who are some of the most vulnerable people on the planet. Ivana Lynch, who played Luna Lovegood, I've read contradicting things about what Ivana Lynch has said. I'll read it in a second, and it is a year old, so I don't know if anything's happened since, but I feel like she was kind of saying,
oh, I support trans people, but I also still really admire J.K. Rowling.
kind of vibe. She was like sitting on the fence, but while saying she liked both. So she said, I'm so saddened to see trans people feel abandoned by the Harry Potter community, she wrote on Twitter in 2020. However, in a follow-up tweet, she said, I think it's irresponsible to discuss such a delicate topic over Twitter through fragmented thoughts, and I wish Jo wouldn't. That said, as a friend and admirer of Jo, I can't forget what a generous and loving person she is. In 2022, she said, I really strongly disagree with the narrative that there's a rift. She has her beliefs and she's doing her thing. We all have strong beliefs and it's been a very difficult conversation. I want there to be healing and I don't want us to keep fighting. These comments did receive a lot of positive feedback from TERFs, who applauded Lynch for not being consumed by the woke witch hunt. This article says that it feels wrong to put Lynch in the on the fence category because she's still vehemently pro-trans, which is automatically anti-Rowling. Yeah, I see why they've not put her on the fence, but I'm unsure of her stance. But she's definitely said like she supports the trans community, but then she seems very stuck on like,
oh, I feel like I've been given so much by J.K. Rowling and I don't want to turn my back on her.
that's the vibe I'm getting. Chris Rankin, who played Percy Weasley, he said, I do a lot of work with charities that are LGBTQ+ focused and I raise money for the Albert Kennedy Trust on a regular basis. A lot of my family and members of the community, it's a huge part of my life, and I think by saying that you can probably guess where my allegiances lie in that respect. What is important to highlight is that when a trans person says they are male or female, that is what they are and that is how we should treat them. It is damaging to say otherwise. Bonnie Wright, who played Ginny Weasley, back in 2020 when all of this first started, she tweeted, if Harry Potter was a source of love and belonging for you, that love is infinite and there to take without judgment or question. Trans women are women, I see and love you, Bonnie. Eddie Redmayne, who wasn't in the original TV but was in the, I don't remember what they're called, but the later Harry Potter movies. He said, as someone who's worked with both J.K. Rowling and members of the trans community, I wanted to make it absolutely clear where I stand. I disagree with Jo's comment, trans women are women, trans men are men, and non-binary identities are valid. I would never want to speak on behalf of the community, but I do know that my dear transgender friends and colleagues are tired of this constant questioning of their identities, which all too often results in violence and abuse. They simply want to live their lives peacefully, and it's time to let them do so. Harry Melling, who played Dudley Dursley, he said, I can only speak for myself, and what I feel to me is very simple, which is that transgender women are women and transgender men are men. Every single person has the right to choose who they are and to identify themselves as what's true to themselves. I don't want to join the debate of pointing fingers and saying that's right, that's wrong, because I don't think I'm the correct spokesperson for that, but I do believe that everybody has the right to choose. So some people that are labelled as on the fence. The first is Jason Isaacs, who I'm going to go through what he said here and what's covered in this article and then give an update. So he said in 2022, there's a bunch of stuff about Jo, I don't want to get drawn into the trans issues talking about them because it's such an extraordinary minefield. field. One of the things that people should know about her too, not as a counter argument, is that she has poured an enormous amount of her fortune into making the world a much better place for hundreds of thousands of vulnerable children through her charity Lumos. And that is unequivocally good. Many of us Harry Potter actors have worked for and seen on the ground the work that they do. So for all that she has said some very controversial things, I was not going to be jumping to stab her in the front or back without a conversation with her, which I've not managed to have yet. That does very much sound on the fence. He's not really said what his specific viewpoint is about what she's saying, but he doesn't sound totally in agreement with her. I think it's really important to acknowledge that good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things, but also just because you've done a good thing over here doesn't mean we excuse the bad thing that you've done or you are doing over here. You can say, thank you, well done, please stop, this is awful, and that's okay. We can acknowledge both. We can acknowledge somebody's good parts and their bad parts without feeling like we're betraying them for calling out the negativity that they're causing. As a little update though, this article is also from June 2025. Harry Potter star on J.K. Rowling's trans views, I don't understand who she is on Twitter. I feel like he's still very much coming across like he's on the fence and he's not saying anything like super strong, and I don't know how many people are taking this stance because they're worried to weigh in, both in terms of getting backlash from either side, because whilst there's several people, including people who are like, yeah, pro-trans, but also let's stop being a dick to JK Rowling, let's call things out calmly, I don't think anybody's really saying like, oh, but all the hate that is getting directed at the trans community, the death threats and the absolute disgusting hate and just the vile things that people say to trans people, both online and in real life, none of that is ever mentioned in this. It's all like,
Oh, but I think people are being too harsh.
is it? But she's literally advocating and putting money behind people's rights being taken away. Of course they're gonna get angry. What I was saying is, I think some people are scared to be pro-trans publicly because they see the disgusting hate that comes from the transphobe camp, and they don't want to be part of that, and they don't want to go against somebody that gave them a massive opportunity in their career. And I also think some people are quiet because they just don't know enough and they're not interested enough, which is not good enough. Sitting on the fence when a marginalized group are being so oppressed is being on the side of the oppressor at this point. Anyway, Harry Potter star Jason Isaacs has shut down questions about author J.K. Rowling's anti-trans views, but said if there is a vote on the issue, he knows which side I'll be voting. In an in-depth interview carried out by Andrew Goldman, Isaacs was asked what his views are on Rowling's anti-trans campaigning. You're asking me to be Jo's spokesperson and unpack what's going on in Jo's head, he asked. No, I just assumed you have a relationship with her and wondered if you had an opinion, Goldman responded. I've met her once for about 2 minutes. Really? Goldman asked. That was it, Isaacs confirmed, saying he worked for Rowling's charity Lumos. People want me to talk about J.K. Rowling's attitude to trans people all the time, and initially I went, I don't know her well enough, and I'm a straight white man in late middle age, and it's not for me to opine on feminist and trans issues. But then I championed this fabulous trans comedian, Jordan Gray, and wrote about her, and I suddenly became a poster boy for trans rights. So he's clearly not transphobic. Isaac said his support was interpreted as me putting the knife into Jo, and it wasn't. I don't understand who she is on Twitter, but then that's true of almost anybody online. It's a place where people scream abuse at each other, he explained. It does go beyond Twitter though, when she starts putting her money towards court cases and other things. And I've heard her arguments when she explained herself in that 7
I can see why people don't want to say that they support trans rights. I can understand them not wanting to get abuse hurled at them. I am an ally. I don't care. I can deal with the terrors. My God, I've dealt with them in real life, for crying out loud. It's fucking ridiculous. So no, I will go head to head with these absolute. But if any of my lovely transgender followers and subscribers and people who talk to me on a regular basis know that I'm here for you, and I've got genetic issues as well that are connected to me being female, so I can see both sides. I hate the TERFs with every fibre of my being, and my womanhood's been taken away from me as well because I can't have kids. So I can empathise with trans people as well, so, and non-binary. So no, do not try and come after me or my trans friends, thank you. Plus I'm a shouty Scottish woman, so they'll mend them.
podcast, The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling, which I listened to. She says in that something like, I may be on the wrong side of history, but this is what I feel very strongly. It's not my argument or discussion to have, but if there is a vote, I know which side I'll be voting. That, to me, reads as if he is pro-trans, but because he's a cis straight man, he feels like he can't definitively comment because J.K. Rowling relies so heavily on the fact that she's a woman and she claims to be a feminist, and then he's also not trans. Honestly, I see why he's been put on the fence, and he probably kind of still is there, but I would say if push came to shove, he would be more on the side of being trans supportive. But he's one of those people that doesn't feel like he maybe has a right to speak out publicly, because maybe he doesn't know quite enough, where he's not sure if he spoke out in support of the trans community, if that would be seen as him speaking out against women. But then if he spoke out for J.K. Rowling and women and their anti-trans camp, then he would be seen as being transphobic. And so maybe he's like, well, I'm both pro-feminism and pro-trans, and I don't know how to navigate this without seeming like I'm turning my back on one or the other. That may or may not be the situation, that's just my interpretation, but regardless, it is definitely the situation for some people, and that is the power on this manipulative ideology and campaigning and rhetoric from transphobic people to hide behind things like feminism, because they're not feminists. Trans rights and women's rights are not in opposition with one another. Saying you support trans people in no way says that you don't support women. They're not against each other. It's really bizarre that they've been pitted that way. It's bizarre, but it makes sense because it's a way in for transphobes and it's a shield for them. They hide behind that guise of feminism, and they also hide behind wanting to protect children. So it's all very bizarre. So yeah, that was just an update on Jason Isaacs' statements. Also, a year ago, Tom Felton was put on the fence. I don't know if we can put him on the fence because he's just reprised his role as Draco Malfoy in the stage production of the Cursed Child thing. He said something like, I'm not like attuned to the issues, who didn't speak out with any kind of gusto on either side. And then also said that nothing's brought the world together like Potter, and praised J.K. Rowling for creating it. But he has said things like, I'm pro-choice, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-discussion, I'm pro-love, I don't tend to pick sides. How can you be pro-choice and pro-life? I don't know, maybe he doesn't even know what his own opinion is in this situation, but he's clearly too afraid to have any kind of opinion publicly.
Pro-choice and pro-life? I don't know how to tackle that one. That's a bit odd. Pro-choice, by the way. For the first few years after my diagnosis when I was 16, I was pro-life. Out of a sense of bitterness, really. Finding out at age 16 that you're not going to be able to have kids ever. It affected me quite deeply. And I was upset until I was in my mid-20s. But when I was 22, when I started dating Super Hubby, my opinion evolved, it changed, and I could see. My mum's a midwife, by the way. Was a midwife, she's retired now. My opinion evolved through learning and through going to uni, obviously. So I'm pro-choice now. Some pregnancies are deeply, deeply dangerous for the pregnant person. Just, yeah. Pregnancy is not a neutral health thing, by the way. Pregnancy really, really changes the person's body. And there's so much that can go wrong in it. So, for a long time, my middle sister wanted to become a midwife. But she couldn't, there's certain aspects that she couldn't handle, so she done biomed instead. Biomedical sciences and biochemistry. She was always pro-choice, but they could understand why I was pro-life. Shaped who I was, really. So I will not hear this pro-life nonsense that a lot of them do, especially in the States. Taking away our body autonomy? Fuck off. No thanks. And that's how I intersect with that, not being able to get pregnant and having my, well, born like this, so I didn't lose my autonomy, my body autonomy through legislation from absolute fucking religious zealots and anti-science nutters. I was taken out of that naturally, so not much I can do about it. And even if I could get pregnant, like IVF or anything, because of the state of my spine and the rest of my joints, definitely wouldn't be a health neutral thing if I tried to get pregnant. Anyway, the uterus is I'll just say, like, the my endometrial lining, the lining of the uterus, just no, not capable of carrying a pregnancy. Christ, it would cripple me more. Go. Go.
So he can definitely stay firmly on the fence. And then something I wanted to discuss generally about this whole conversation is there are some cast members who've been put in this camp of like in support of J.K. Rowling. But if you actually read what they've said, it doesn't sound like anybody's come out and said like,
Oh no, I totally agree. Like, this is what I think about trans people too.
it's mostly people going like, oh, I don't like to see the hate she's receiving. And also, I don't really understand what she said that's so bad. That's not also saying that you are anti-trans. It's just you totally not understanding. I don't think I've heard of a cast member actually coming out and going,
I fully agree with everything she says. I'm very much anti-trans. I don't think trans women are women.
like, I've never seen any of them say stuff like that. Most of it is like,
Oh, I don't like to see that she's being hated on.
So Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid, in 2020, he said, I don't think what she said was offensive, really. I don't know why, but there's a whole Twitter generation of people who hang around waiting to be offended. They wouldn't have won the war, would they? That's me talking like a grumpy old man. That just sounds like somebody who doesn't give a shit and just thinks that people who argue on Twitter are millennials and Gen Z who are overly sensitive. That doesn't feel like he actually has an opinion on trans people or what J.K. Rowling has said. He's just like, I don't know why people have to argue on Twitter, when she's the one that's starting the argument. Ralph Fiennes, who played Voldemort, and this bit starts with, are we surprised that the man who played He Who Must Not Be Named supports She Who Must Not Be Named? In 2021, he said he can't understand the vitriol directed at J.K. Rowling. I can understand the heat of an argument, but I find this age of accusation and the need to condemn irrational. I find the level of hatred that people express about views that differ from theirs and the violence of language towards others disturbing. And this article's asked, what about Rowling's hatred and violence of language, like towards the trans community, which is a very valid question. He's also said in 2022, J.K. Rowling has written these great books about empowerment, about young children finding themselves as human beings. It's about how you become a better, stronger, more morally centered human being. The verbal abuse directed at her is disgusting. It's appalling. This article also says, would love to see Ralph Fiennes do a live reading of J.K. Rowling's tweets and see how he feels about what's disgusting and what isn't. But again, he's not saying he supports her views. He's just saying, why do people have to be mean on Twitter? And also, she wrote these books,
Doesn't
so
look
like,
like
let's
that.
forgive her. And like, yeah, she did write these books that so many people interpreted as like standing up for the underdog and telling you to be your true self. And then she seemingly went totally against that messaging. Helena Bonham Carter is also in the camp of being pro J.K. Rowling. In 2022, she said, I think she's been hounded. It's been taken to the extreme, the judgmentalism of people. She's allowed her opinion, particularly if she's suffered abuse. Everyone carries their own history of trauma and forms their opinions from that trauma, and you have to respect where people come from and their pain. But it's not an excuse. Just because that's where your opinion comes from doesn't give you an excuse to use it to hate on other people. We can all grow from the forming. We can all learn. We can all become better people. We can all open our minds more as we experience the world and as we talk through our traumas. She's also said, personally, I feel they should let her have her opinions, but I think they're very aware of protecting their own fan base and their generation. Weird that J.K. Rowling can have her opinions, but the people against her shouldn't argue them. Interesting. I am really curious about how much of this is just some people not wanting to speak out
Feels like
against
it.
her because they feel like she helped them. Jim Broadbent, who played Horace Slughorn, said, I think J.K. Rowling is amazing. I haven't had to confront the backlash myself, but I would support her in that, I think, if it came to it. So wishy-washy. Most of it is just people like acknowledging the books that she wrote and thinking that she's really cool for that, and like taking a full step back and being like,
Yeah, don't hate on her, but I'm not actually going to comment on what she said.
nobody's come out and said yes. There's so many people with so much gusto have come out in support of the trans community, but seemingly nobody with that same level of gusto has come out in support of J.K. Rowling, who's been involved in the Harry Potter series.
Noticing a theme here. All the older actors. And the younger ones. Don't get me wrong, there are older people in society who support trans rights. So everyone younger than me, by the looks of it, are pro trans. All the family members that I know on either side of my well, there's a couple of exceptions, I'll not say who. We're all mostly pro-trans. We're Scottish, we usually support the underdog. A lot of us are Scotland football supporters, so we know we know what it's like to support an underdog. Just being funny there. But yeah, I'm noticing that a lot of younger Gen Xers, people like me, and millennials and Zoomers are all pro. And quite a lot of millennials and Zoomers are socialists. Funny that.
Which I think is very interesting. Some cast members who had no comment include Gary Oldman, who played Sirius Black, Julie Walters, who played Molly Weasley, Michael Gambon, who played Dumbledore, and Maggie Smith, who played Professor McGonagall. Very interesting. Yeah, I really do think it's a stretch, the ones that have been labelled like in support of J.K. Rowling. They just seem to be against the hate she's getting on Twitter, but it's really unclear whether they actually agree with her opinions. They just seem to agree that she's entitled to have her opinions and to share them and not be hated for them. But I wonder if they would feel the same way if she was speaking out against another marginalised community in the same way and at the same rate that she speaks against the trans community, which is multiple times a day seemingly. And then just very quickly, there's been so much controversy over the new TV series, and bizarrely to me, I've not seen any of the actors come out and be like, no, I support what she's saying, I really want to be involved in this project. Trans rights, you know? I've not seen anybody do that. So it's just like the old cast where nobody was really like,
Yes, J.K. Rowling, I agree with you.
nobody's doing that here. But a couple people have come out in support of the trans community. And it's very interesting that they're then still taking part. Like, are they getting paid a lot of money? Do they see this as like a massive break for their career? Is something else going on? Is there like really complicated contract stuff? I've not, like, why? If you support the trans community and you understand like an ounce of what's going on, why? Anyway, one of the actors is Papa Essiedu, who's playing Snape in the reboot. He was among about 1,500 actors who signed a letter in support of trans rights. The letter, expressing solidarity with the trans and non-binary community, demands that industry institutions such as BAFTA, BBC, BFI and Channel 4 commit to protecting and including trans people. Essiedu's decision to sign in support follows his recent casting as Severus Snape in HBO's Harry Potter show, which is produced by J.K. Rowling. Eddie Redmayne, who starred in Harry Potter spin-off Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, also signed the letter. So that's interesting. And then there's also Nick Frost, who I was very disappointed to hear was taking part in this because I'm a big fan of his previous work. He has this month said that J.K. Rowling's views don't align with his own. The series creator J.K. Rowling is allowed her opinion, but it doesn't align with his own views. He's going to be playing Hagrid. But in an interview with The Observer, Frost spoke about Rowling saying she's allowed her opinion and I'm allowed mine. They just don't align in any way, shape or form. Asked if he thinks the discourse could detract from the series, he added, I don't know, but maybe it shouldn't blow over. We shouldn't just hope it will go away because it makes it easier. Maybe we should educate ourselves. Frost's support of the trans community doesn't come as a surprise. One of his next big projects is reportedly starring alongside trans comic Jordan Gray in her trans-focused ITV supermarket sitcom Transaction. I'm very excited to watch that. It sounds really good. And that's just honestly fascinating to me. And I think what that comes across as is kind of where a lot of pro-trans people but Harry Potter enjoyers were in like 2021, maybe 2022 kind of era, where it was very much like, let's separate the art from the artist. And I think that's where this is coming from, of like, hey, Harry Potter is this thing that's so popular and let's carry on and I'm really excited to take this role on, but separating that from the fact that I really disagree with the creator's viewpoints, they don't align with mine at all, and I support trans people. I think that would have been okay a few years ago, but now we're at a point where J.K. Rowling donated £70,000 to a recent Supreme Court ruling that is seeing trans rights being taken away. And that is a huge amount of money to donate, and she's now more directly putting her Harry Potter wealth into harming the trans community. J.K. Rowling's new organisation will